It's just an amazing place. It's totally different to what I expected, and then it's everything that I expected.
I'm interested in seeing how nature works and how, you know, various types of things that happen in the natural environment result in something that, you know, say creates a landscape that you can walk on.
I've always been interested in the Arctic regions, and the Arctic has an allure to start with, and once you really kind of fall for it, it hooks you in. And I see myself studying the Arctic regions for the rest of my scientific career.
Here in one place in Barrow, you can have access to all of these different things that matter in the world of sea ice, get a chance to try and understand them, at least in part, and put it all together and get a much better understanding of just how different parts of the environment, the biology, the geophysics, sociology, the politics, how all of that goes together.
Coming to Barrow, I for the sea ice course, and I thought, wow, it's such a wonderful opportunity to get into the Arctic and learn about the sea ice.
Well, as a Malaysian from the tropics, I never seen sea ice before, right? And actually, I never seen snow before. It's a very strange thing for me, the ice, the snow, and sea ice. So I was thinking, well, this is maybe like the only opportunity for me to walk on the sea ice and to go to the Arctic, you know.
Friday last, I got here, I arrived, and within a couple of hours I was out there skidooing across the sea ice, and I stood on the sea ice for the first time. And you know, Ireland, we have a temperate climate, maritime temperate climate, so we don't get very much snow. So to even stand in 50 centimeters of snow was amazing, and I was giggling like a child for about the first 3 days. And I think, you know, for me, I study the sea ice from space, essentially. I use satellite data to analyse the sea ice, and we're trying to monitor the change in thickness of the ice pack over time. So when your job is primarily to look at something from a distance, you know, the satellite is 600 kilometers away, and it's really, I think, enlightening and useful to see the real, you know, physical properties of what you're studying.
I'm just blown away by the people here. The diversity is just incredible. There's people from so many different countries and so many different scientific backgrounds.
I'm Josh Jones. I'm from the University of Alaska Southeast in Juneau.
Dan Masterson. I've worked in the Arctic offshore and some of the onshore for the last 37 years.
Well, my name is Sinead Farrell. I grew up in Ireland.
I'm Ling, and I'm from Malaysia. Now a student in Hokkaido University in Japan.
I'm Jonas Carlson. I'm studying in Denmark in the University of Copenhagen.
My name is Matthew Druckmiller, and I am a graduate student at the Geophysical Institute at the University of Alaska Fairbanks.
I'm Brendan Kelly from the University of Alaska, and I'm a marine mammal biologist.
My name is Daiki, Nomura, and I am a postdoc in Hokkaido University, Sapporo, Japan.
Amy Lauren Lovecraft. I'm an associate professor of political science at the University of Alaska Fairbanks.
I'm Malcolm Ingham from Victoria University in Wellington, New Zealand.
Kunio Shirasawa.
Ayo Aiken. Rolf Bredinger.
Camille Marr.
Archana Bali.
Tatiana Alexeyeva.
Molly Wilson.
Joseph Pope.
Dan Carlson.
Paula Doba. Susan Hazen.
What I find particularly fascinating about sea ice, and in particular Arctic sea ice, is taking the important aspects of these different types of environments and throwing them all into one. And on top of that, making it actually fairly simple, because while mountains consist of maybe, 20, 30 minerals and some as many as 100, sea ice is really only one main mineral, ice, and then you have a bit of water in there, and maybe a few other things, sediments and salts. But inside the pores and inside the voids of the sea ice, you have a whole another ecosystem. And the ice, the way it moves, it deforms, behaves in some ways very similar to mountain ranges. It creates a landscape that people travel on, that people live in, just like other continents. But on top of that, of course, you then also have ice playing a very important role in say, global politics or in global economics. And the fact that all of this, is brought together in this just one material in a fairly small area or a fairly small part of the globe, I just find that amazing. I mean, to me, that is one of the things why I would argue there really is no better thing to study if you want to understand how the Earth works than sea ice.
For me, it's still amazing that under these, at least from the human perspective, harsh conditions, that you can have such a rich development of biology and such a diverse community that exists within that environment. That's for me just spectacular.
I quickly became fascinated with the whaling culture, the whole history of the interactions of the whalers and the whaling culture with the International Whaling Commission, actively seeking that kind of knowledge. The goal was to go out on the ice with someone who looks at it from perhaps a little different perspective. So to try to understand when a whaler is driving out on the ice, what does he see? What does he look for? And so, Joe would take us out and would show us certain features or describe things. And the hope was that in doing that, the students would be understanding some of the things that a whaler looks at and perhaps seeing some of the connections with the other parameters that they've been studying.